Yes, I love Mark's comment. If the UN staff in Sri Lanka don't feel safe, how can the Tamils feel safe in that country? The UN HCR said they were going to review the country information for Sri Lanka, and immediately Australia used that as an excuse to freeze processing of refugee applications in Australia. I checked with the UNHCR and they barely could control their laughter because they said they do review country information on a regular basis. That is their job. They can't have information that's 5 years old. Every 6 months or every year they do review the information. So they were amazed that Australia took the turn of suspending refugee applications. Now the UN report has come out, and yes, the UN report does say that the situation has improved. Compared to what? Compared to 40,000 people being killed in May 2009, yes, the situation has improved. But is it safe? No. Hundreds of people are still being killed. Even the UN report says there are certain groups of people who are at risk. The Department of Foreign Affairs website says, do not travel to the north and east of Sri Lanka because it is not safe to do so. Amnesty International says that. The European Union says it is not safe in Sri Lanka and there's human rights violations, and has withheld GSP tariffs from Sri Lanka because of the continued human rights violations. So how can we say it is safe to be in Sri Lanka? I mean, I was a little bit, we are happy that the suspension has been lifted, because that is what the UNHCR report said, that the cessation of refugee application is not warranted and it should continue. And therefore Australia has lifted, and we welcome that. But we also do not want to preempt and the suggestions made by Prime Minister Gillard that most people would be sent back. That is, without reviewing each person's individual case, how can we say that they will be sent back to Sri Lanka where they are not safe? I personally cannot go to Sri Lanka because I will not be safe, and so will most people. And we know of disappearances and killing and rapes that's continuing to happen in Sri Lanka. What these refugees need is to be given a fair go, their applications processed, and if they are genuine refugees, they should be accepted. If they are not, if they are rejected the first time, they should go through the legal system to make sure that those determinations are in fact correct. We are trying to push them offshore, push our problem to other poor countries so that they do not have the protection of the high courts of Australia, which is really bad. What are we trying to hide? Why are we stopping them from appealing to the High Court? There are little kids as young as 4 who have been in detention in Australia for a year. That is sad. As Australians, we keep saying we won't keep our children and women in detention. This is a kid that has been recognized as a genuine refugee along with the family, and they hold a UNHCR card and they are being held in detention in Australia. So what we want is for them to be given a fair go. We should stop this fear-mongering amongst the public to try and tell them there's these thousands and thousands of refugees arriving as if they're going to take over the whole country. Compared to 300,000 migration applications that we accepted last year, we only took 6,000 refugees. It's 1.5% of the total migration intake for last year was refugees. It's not a big deal. Refugees have contributed to this society. I personally know a person who came as a refugee who's a neurosurgeon. One of the best cooks in Vietnamese food. He came on a boat. There are doctors, engineers, architects, psychologists. They all, some of them have come here as refugees on boats or refugees on planes, and they're contributing to this society. They are not criminals, they're not terrorists, so let's give them a fair go and let's accept them into this society. Thank you.